Next up, we have a presentation from Martin Holland, Managing Director of COBRE Limited, with the ticker code CBE. I will now hand you over to Martin for more on their copper projects in Botswana and Western Australia.
Great, thanks, Jane. Great, so thanks everyone for joining. In regards to COBRE, it's Spanish word for copper, so it's pretty clear what we're focused on. And also talking about the beginning of the copper super cycle. So we can change to the next page. Thanks, Jane. Great. So from a capital structure perspective, we got around about 156 million shares in issue. We have a market cap at the moment of around about $25 million. We have cash in bank circa around 10 million. We're still owed around $1.4 million from our largest shareholder, being Metal Tiger, which is due to be paid at our next EGM or AGM. We have 4 projects, though on this presentation today, I'm going to focus only on the Kalahari Metals Project, which is based in Botswana. From the board of directors, it's myself as executive chairman and also managing director, Andrew Sassine as finance director, Michael McNeely as non-executive director, and Michael Addison as non-executive director. So there's 2 words here you don't often see together, one being diversified and the next being focus. So we're diversified across jurisdictions, so being in Australia and Western Australia, and also in Africa. And we're also diversified across the type of copper as well. So we've got the HMS in Western Australia, targeting a sedimentary hosted copper in Botswana, and also copper nickel magmatic sulfides in Gabon, which is on the border of the Congo Craton, though we are focused on the commodity copper. So here it shows a clear path to $15,000 a tonne. We've seen a big increase in copper price over the last period. We set this company up a couple of years ago with a view that the demand and the supply was out of whack. There's also a move here from a no decarbonisation without copper, the green transition without a surge in copper demand. The copper market is also unprepared for this critical role, and the sticky supply threatens to deplete copper stocks by mid-decade. So we believe that that we're in a pretty good space and commodity of choice here. And I'll start focusing here on Botswana. So there's a joint venture that we started in April of this year. There was an extensive amount of groundwork that happened. Due to COVID, we had to hire experts such as CSA Global to do site visits for us and to write certain technical reports. This was all completed, this joint venture, in April of 2021. And we've just recently had a joint venture with Metal Tiger, which is also COBRE's largest shareholder. They're a natural resource fund, dual listed on AIM and ASX, and they own roughly around 20% of COBRE. We're in a 51-49% joint venture with them, and we're the operating controller of the Kalahari Metals Limited company, which owns approximately about 8,000 square kilometres of the land on the Kalahari Copper Belt. We've approved a 7,000 metre drilling program, which is our first drilling program as a joint venture. And this program is drilling pretty much adjacent to Zone 5, T3 and A4 areas, which has been discovered by Cribbit Canyon and also Sandfire. And interestingly, the Matheo project T3 has recently been permitted and ready to be turned into a mine. So we've got like 2 mines in the making here over the next 12 to 24 months. Strong investment from both the business sector in mine development and government in power infrastructure. So the power lines are already up at present. And this is all aimed at opening up the Kalahari Copper Belt in Botswana. We've got diamond drilling and RC drilling is underway on our project, which I'll take you through. In regards to the Kalahari Copper Belt, the view here is that the belt is still largely underexplored. So the Kalahari Copper Belt remains immature in terms of discovery and metal endowment. So most deposits that were found historically were found on traditional limb hosted on the main redox contact. And what we're focusing at trying to find are these near surface domes, which are open pittable. So we believe that there is room to find another large deposit on this belt. So you can see here in the light green, the land holding that we own, it's quite extensive. We have circa 8,100 square kilometres of the belt, which makes us the second largest landholder in the district outside of Sandfire. Which puts us at around about 1/3 of the Kalahari Copper Belt in total. You can see here that this is a budget that we approved. We're going to be drilling all the way through the year. We've approved a 7,000 metre diamond and RC drilling program. We've just announced we've completed the first 2,000 metres of drilling. and we'll continue to drill throughout the year. Historically, our largest shareholder being Metal Tiger and also joint venture partners spent around $5 million on geophysical surveys, soil sampling, drill target development, and successful proof of concept drilling and development of current drill programs. So a lot of that early hard work and time-consuming work has already been completed, which is a good position for us, as a company entering into the joint venture, having all that knowledge. So we're now moving ahead with advanced exploration of the area. Some sort of results that have been found in the district, which are just adjacent to where we're drilling at the moment, which was announced recently by Sandfire, was circa 35 meters at 7% copper and 116 grams silver, and 12 meters at 13.3% copper. So you can see that there is high-grade nature in this belt, and also at near surface, which is quite exciting, considering that we're exploring targets that are very similar to that as our neighbours. So getting into a bit of technical sort of analysis here, historically, exploration has focused on the redox contact and the mineralisation of fold limbs, so very deep drilling, and that's what sort of like Kubrick Canyon had discovered. These are easy to find using magnetic, AEM, and soil sampling, but at the end can be deep and not suited to lower cost open pit mining. It obviously helps having the copper price higher, so they do become economic, but we are looking to find high grade deposits near the surface for open pit is our strategy. So recent exploration is focused on fold-related anticline hinge zones and structurally controlled trap sites higher in the strat, above the traditional redox zone. So it's very similar to that as A4 and T3. So historically, in 2020, we completed around, as a company, 1,700 meters of strat drilling. So some deep holes that we drilled there, 3,000 meters of soil sampling, which showed some copper and zinc anomalies above the targets that we've defined. We've had these targets being structurally designed and completed by experts that have already been involved in discoveries on the belt, which gives us a lot of confidence. I have mentioned our largest shareholder being Metal Tiger. They were involved with a company called Mod Resources, which they own roughly around 30% of, which was bought out by Sandfire for around about $170 million a few years back now. So they have a lot of knowledge on this belt, and we have that technical team working with us now to find the next discovery in the area. So this is the planned drilling program that we have here. We started out with a plan of 1,000 meters of diamond drilling and 4,000 meters of RC to start off with, then moving to 7,000 meters in total. We've been a bit slow going from an RC perspective, so we've had a few problems with that rig over the last sort of 7 weeks. So we've been occurring a slow meter rate from an RC perspective. So from that basis, we've actually shifted another diamond rig in. So we're increasing the amount of diamond holes that we're drilling now in meters, and decreasing the amount of RC holes. This has just got to do with the terrain more than anything else. So the diamond holes are working at the moment, and we're getting through approximately about 30 meters a day. So we'll have some information out on the targets that we're drilling in due course. So this is quite interesting, this area. This area itself has never had any past historic drilling. This is a priority target for us. It's very similar to that, again, as A4. It's very large. You're talking like 20 kilometers long target. There could possibly be multiple domes inside this target area. We've just announced that we've drilled through the first layer, which has modeled up identically to the geophysics that we completed and the aeromagnetical work that's been completed. And there's two sort of important geological structures that you need to identify on this belt, one being the Dakar Formation and the next being the NPF. And in the earlier stages of the drill hole, which are only through sort of 40 to 50 meters of this first hole that we've drilled, we've identified the Dakar, which is quite critical to find that near surface. So that's this area has already been de-risked from a target perspective, and now we continue with further exploration, knowing that we're in the right geology. So from a targeting perspective here, you can see on the left what the domes look like at Sandfire at A4, and you can also see the domes that we're drilling here on the larger image, and they're almost identical to that as our neighbours. So as I said, very, very large targets, very large sort of sedimentary hosted copper deposits that we're looking to discover here, and quite high grade, considering that the world grade of copper being mined at the moment is less than 0.5%. we're looking at finding deposits that are greater than 2%, which is quite attractive in this current copper market. So why the Kalahari Copper Belt? I think there's a standout quote here is that the Kalahari Copper Belt was rated as #1 in the world for most prospective under-discovered sedimentary hosted copper deposits by the US Geological Survey. So in my opinion, if you're going to explore anywhere in the world for copper, it's probably a good place to start, being the Kalahari Copper Belt. Our deposits are often giant, so more than 1/3 of the known sedimentary hosted copper deposits are greater than 500,000 tonnes and contain of grades greater than 1%. So as I said, we're targeting greater than 2%. And a significant portion of the Kalahari Copper Belt is hosted in Botswana, so a very safe jurisdiction in Africa. It's rated approximately around 12th in the world at the moment on the Fraser Institute. So a very solid jurisdiction to be in to find a new large discovery. The technical team here is very strong. It's led by Adam Woolridge. We also have Dr. Ross McGowan. I'll touch on Ross quickly. He got the award, which was the Lindsay Award for the discovery of Kamoa, which is Ivanhoe's main project, which Robert Friedland now runs. So he's on our team. David Cattrall, Thomas Rogers as well. So this team itself has had a lot of knowledge, multi-decades of experience on the Kalahari Copper Belt. So we're very confident with the team that we have to discover the next deposit in this region. So from a news flow perspective, 2020, we did a lot of the earlier work. 2021, we've, as I said, finalised our joint venture. We're well funded. We just raised circa around $7 million at 17 cents per share. We have around $10 million in the bank. It's a joint venture, so every dollar we spend, our joint venture partner spends as well. So we have a lot of money to put towards exploration moving forward. So from a news flow perspective, we'll have our results out at Kit East on the endurance and perseverance targets, also Kit West. So we'll have ongoing exploration over the next period, and plenty of news flow to come. And that's a wrap.
Well, Marty, thank you for the presentation. Certainly very interesting, particularly with the proximity to Sandfire. We've had a few questions that have come through, which I know you did cover, but I will ask them anyway. So how many rigs have you got currently drilling?
Yes, I currently have 3 rigs on site at the moment, Jane. So we have 2 to start off with, and we've just had another one turn up last week.
And I know, again, you did sort of mention this, but when are you expecting assays due? Yeah,
sure. I'll probably just also touch back on that rig question. Sandfire have approximately 15 rigs in operation at the moment. They're using a company called Discovery, and we're also using the same company, Discovery. So we have 3 of their rigs as well. From an assay perspective, what we're doing is we're actually drilling the hole with diamond core. It takes a few days for the core to dry. Once the core is dry, then we XRFing it on site. If there is any economic grade that comes from the XRF, we then send it to the lab for assays. So that's the current position that we're currently in. We've only completed 2,000 meters of drilling at present. So we'll have a further news flow in the coming weeks, and more throughout the year.
Brilliant. Well, thank you for joining us today, Martin.
Great. Thanks, Jane. Appreciate it.